Yo, welcome back to We Talking About Sports. And we got a little Thursday Night Live going for y'all today. Roland,
Little
what's up,
pregame
man?
show.
What's up?
It's a little pregame show. The pregame show you didn't know that you needed. Right here, 8 o'clock. As you guys know, if you've been watching the NBA playoffs this postseason, they don't start right on time. It's 8:05. We had an 8 o'clock tip off. Hey, it's 8 o'clock here in the Central Time, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. 9:05 over there right now. Come, have some respect for the fans. Come on. I mean, it's one thing to say that a player's not going to play right before the game starts, but you can't even get the tip off at the right time. Come on, NBA. What are we doing, Adam Silver? What are we doing?
6 o'clock in the
I'm
Pacific
good, though.
West.
Milking it. They're milking it, boys.
Well, you know what? Let's just get into it today. You know, we are pressed for time here a little bit because we want to respect people's time watching these games. And let's start with the UFC this weekend. UFC 288, Sterling versus Cejudo. We get Triple C back. Well, before we talk about the main event, because I know the main event is, we got a lot to talk about. Talk about the undercard, the guys who kind of saved this card up a little bit when Oliveira got announced that he was no longer going to make it. He suffered an undisclosed injury. Well, Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad, and Gilbert Burns, they decided they're going to fight at 170. I think it's a 5-rounder, right, Ben?
It is a 5-rounder.
All right, so it was announced that the winner of this fight would get the winner of Leon and Colby. Ben, Bilal, 3 straight underdogs. He's been underdog with Sean Brady versus the karate, the Wonder Boy, and I forgot the other guy he fought, but he's got 3 wins in a row as an underdog. Yet he's being priced as an underdog again here. Is that fair?
Yeah, that other win was Vicente Luque.
It is Luque, underdog.
Yeah, and I mean, since he joined, AKA and became, Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad Nurmagomedov? Things have changed, bro. That culture change and that discipline seems like he's really fed into it. It's a guy that you like to have your money on, man. Comes in with a really solid game plan. Only blemish in there is that no contest against Leon Edwards, who is now the champion. Remember, Leon poked his eye early in the second round of their fight, and the fight got called a no contest. Yep. But like you said, Bilal Muhammad at dog odds again, bro. Gilbert Burns just fought, recently against Masvidal. He steps in here. This is a fight that was made straight through Twitter.
Yes.
This was them two. Yeah, no matchmakers needed, no agents needed. They just did it themselves on Twitter. UFC ran with it. Here it is to save the day. And I mean, Justin, you're privy to, our group chat, offline. I got 50 on this fight with Josh, and I got Bilal Muhammad in this one. I love that it's 5 rounds. I really think that the 5 rounds benefits Bilal Muhammad. I think after he gets past, the first 7 minutes, 8 minutes of the fight, I think that's where he starts taking over 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I do like Bilal Muhammad plus 115. He opened up at plus 125, plus 130. So the odds are going down. And yeah, give me Bilal Muhammad here, man.
Roland, so, Gilbert can crack early, but after the first 2 rounds, he kind of doesn't have that power. It kind of fades from him. And wrestling seems to be like the ultimate like jiu-jitsu stopper. If you have good offensive wrestling, you can stop the jiu-jitsu for the most part. Where do you see this fight heading? Do you see this on the ground? Do you see it standing? Where would you like to see this fight?
I would like to see this fight standing. I mean, granted, both guys are pretty well acclimated on the ground, and I think either it's kind of like a wash once it gets to the ground between the 2 guys. I don't know if you guys think about that differently, but if they say standing up, I do agree with what Ben said. The longer the fight goes, I do think it benefits Bilal Muhammad. He's a guy that likes to fight with a lot of pressure. I was on the other side of his last fight. I bet against him when he was an underdog. I was on Brady because I thought Brady was going to be able to get him out of there. But it was just apparent that Bilal Muhammad had a motor and Brady didn't. So that's, the one thing that really is working for Muhammad in this situation. And I am a little worried because I'm a Burns guy. I like the way Burns fights. I've been on his past couple fights, including, when he lost against Usman. But if he doesn't get Muhammad out of there early, I do think him fighting a few weeks ago is going to play into it a little bit. He's an older guy. He's not, the youngest guy out there on the roster right now. He is about 36 or 37 around there, maybe a little bit older. But who knows? This is a great fight. I'm glad they stepped up and made this fight, like Ben said, happen all on Twitter. But right now, if I were to make my pick today, I'd probably lean towards Muhammad.
Yeah, you know what? I'm right there with you guys. I think I would lean towards Muhammad here. I just think the cardio he has in the jiu-jitsu stopper wrestling, offensive wrestling, I think that'll stop Gilbert on the ground. I know Gilbert's world class when it comes to that, but you got wrestling
So,
to defend. Hard to stop.
so I gotta ask you guys, and this is coming a serious question. What does Ramadan have to do with this situation? Because I know there was some talk about this being at a higher weight class. I think Muhammad initially asked for it to be 180 or 185, which got declined. So are you guys worried at all for Muhammad in that perspective, or is that just the name of the game for him this time of the year if he's taking a fight?
I actually think that fighting at a heavier weight, benefits Bilal here. To be honest, he's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to be bigger than Burns, and I think that's going to help him with the wrestling. The cardio, I don't think that it's going to affect his cardio being a little bit heavier than he is. Because, Justin, they're not fighting at their true weight class, right? It's a catch weight fight?
It's at welter. They decided both are going to make weight.
Oh, wow. Well, then that means Gilbert Burns has made weight, twice here in about a month span, because I believe that he was on the last pay-per-view with the Masvidal fight. So, for Bilal Muhammad, yes, he is partaking in Ramadan, Roland. That's part of, like I said, him joining Team AKA and embracing the whole culture and buying in and being that disciplined. So that does factor in, and that's a negative, I would say, for Bilal Muhammad here. So I'm still riding with Bilal. I think that he is going to be the bigger fighter in this fight. And cardio, I believe, is still, like Roland said, the motor. He is a guy that has a motor. And those are the guys that tend to win the later rounds, which 5 rounds, gotta love that. So give me Bilal by decision. And I'll even go split decision. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be clear, but Bilal will have his hand raised.
Yeah. I think we're all on Bilal, so let's see what happens there. Let's move over to the main event here. We got Triple C's return, Henry Cejudo versus the champion of bantamweight, Aljamain Sterling. Guys, when I think about this fight, I think, the time off for Cejudo, but then I think of guys like GSP and I think of John Jones who came back to title fights. They had extended layoffs, came back to title fights, and they got wins. Do you see the same path for Henry Cejudo? Do you see a possibility that he wins here and regains his championship that he never lost?
I honestly think that he's only coming back because he knows that he can win this fight. To me, it's interesting. I mean, I know the UFC was kind of against it also, but if it was up to him, he'd probably come back at 45 and fight Volkanovski instead of, having to climb through winning his title back at 35 and making that a little more appeasing, champ versus champ. So I do think that he came back because he knows he can win this fight. I mean, let's be honest, bro. Aljo he's beaten up guys. He beat up TJ Dillashaw. Some say he was
with one arm.
He wasn't. Yeah. He beat Peter Yan the second time when he did have a lot of pressure to prove that, he could beat Peter Yan because we know how he won the first fight. So he has beat the who's who of fighters. He has a win over Sandhagen as well. I mean, he's beaten guys, but he's been able to get these guys down and backpack them. Do we think that he's going to be able to do that to an Olympic wrestler? That's that question right there. My answer to that question has me leaning towards Cejudo because I don't see Aljo backpacking Henry Cejudo. I'm like.
So how does Cejudo beat him then? How do you see Cejudo beating Aljo?
I mean, we've seen Cejudo knock out TJ Dillashaw in record time while he was on the juice.
I depleted TJ Dillashaw.
We saw him go toe-to-toe with a prime Marlon Moraes, to win the title.
And he got pretty beat up in that fight with Moraes.
He has a
chin. To death.
He has a chin. Aljo is not the best stand-up guy. He has to get the takedown. I just feel that standing up, it's probably going to be a lot of kicks from Aljo. He's the longer fighter. We have seen people beat up Henry Cejudo's legs, Marlon Moraes, for example. So I don't think – Aljo is in his element when he's on the ground. I don't know how much of this fight takes place on the ground.
So you think Cejudo says, you know what, I can't take this to the ground at all. I got to stand up with this guy.
I don't see Cejudo's not going to be. I think that Cejudo won't shoot a takedown maybe until the third round if he does.
Yeah.
I think that Henry Cejudo has the better stand up. Do you honestly believe that Aljo has better stand up than Cejudo?
I think it's pretty even.
I think so.
I honestly feel like this fight is very even because I don't even think Henry's MMA wrestling is that great because you go look at who has he been on top of and actually beat up other than Marlon Moraes. Who has he been in a dominant position? I mean, just DJ twice that he landed 2 takedowns, but he wasn't effective with his wrestling and his ground and pound from that spot either. So I'm a little concerned for Cejudo here. I think this fight's very, very even, and I understand the odds making on it.
I mean, it's a pick'em fight, but I just feel like standing up, Henry Cejudo has a better resume. I mean, there's a guy who went toe-to-toe with Mighty Mouse, went through the grinder with Mighty Mouse on a bad ankle.
I mean, Aljo has a pretty good resume too on striking.
He does.
If you want to look at it that way too.
They got very good resumes both.
No, he's so much more one-sided.
I mean,
one-dimensional.
He outstruck. He landed 175 strikes on Pedro Munoz on his way to the title. He had over 100 over Jimmy Rivera. But what I'm saying is, you're talking about.
We're talking about guys who are.
I know, but but you're talking about TJ Dillashaw like he ran like, oh my God, that was the greatest victory in the world. TJ Dillashaw was a skeleton walking into that fight. I mean,
it was ridiculous.
I think you land one little shot on TJ, anybody, and he's going down that night. You know what I'm saying? And then Cejudo, he beats Dominic Cruz. We've seen what happens to Dominic Cruz in his last fight. I mean, okay, but that was one of those
Mighty Mouse fight, Ben. I didn't have Cejudo winning that.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people.
That's why you're not a
Dana White special.
No, I'm just telling you, it was so close.
For me, a couple things here where this fight comes down for me is how active has Cejudo been? What's his cardio going to be like? Is he going to come in top notch? I think he is. I think he's a world class caliber athlete where, he's taking it seriously. He's consistently in there. But I do think that if this is standing, I like Aljamain Sterling's chances. I think he's a lankier fighter. I think he can pick him apart. And the only thing that kind of gives me concern, but I see it from both sides, is both guys it's unfair to say that they're not taking each other seriously, but both guys have a lot of confidence right now. It's crazy. Like Cejudo was in his jet, like saying that he's laughing to the bank right now. Like he's pulling a bank robbery.
He wouldn't come back if he didn't know.
I agree with that take, Ben. I get it, but Sterling has the same confidence on his side too. He thinks that he's picking a legacy fight right now. He's just picking a name out of the hat that this is Triple C. Let me build my legacy against this guy who's coming back. Let me just take him out. The game has passed him by. So that's the crazy thing. Both of these guys have a lot of confidence right now, and rightfully so. But yeah,
it's hard to bet this fight for me. Man, I just got to go with Aljo here just because I think he'll be the bigger guy Saturday night, and I think that'll make the difference, especially when it gets to the scraps on the floor.
I'll go with Aljo too, but I have a picture with Aljo, so I'm not going to go against him.
Hey, do we see this fight ending before it goes to the judges, or do we think that it goes to the judges? Are we pretty sure?
I think it goes to the judges.
I think there's a finish. Okay. Somebody gets finished, but they both finish, guys. Either way, if you look at it, they're both finishers for the most part.
All right, well, let's move on to the Lakers. And tonight, the Lakers' keys to success: explosive AD. Bron, is he low-key hurt? Seems like that groin issue still hurting him. Vanderbilt's clamps, and keep Golden State out of the paint. I guess that's Ron put that up. He made this one. I guess he's trying to say Golden State might be going to the paint to try to get more foul calls, because I know the complaints from the Golden State fans was they weren't getting foul calls that night. But it's hard when you shoot 51 threes to get foul calls, guys.
And you don't have guys that attack the rim. That was my biggest thing, was they don't have anybody that's really going to challenge AD and even get AD in foul trouble, because Draymond doesn't do that. Looney doesn't do that. Curry, Poole, and Clay are running off screens to shoot, not go to the paint. So I think keeping AD clean of foul trouble is just, it's an obvious key. If he's willing to play those lengthy minutes, like he has said that he's willing to do, and he has done in that game 6 against the Grizzlies, this dude should be averaging 20 and 20. I don't want to be Shaq and give those ridiculous expectations, for the second round of the playoffs. But bro, it's Kevon Looney and Draymond Green. Like, he should eat all series, fam.
Yeah, AD needs to be the best player on the court, the rest of the series, which he was in game one. I mean, with the stat line that he put up, with 30 and 20 and a couple of blocks to go along with that. And we all knew going into the series the Lakers were going to own the paint, and they need to continue doing that. Winning the point in the paint battle by like 30 points, that's significant, especially when you're getting outshot on the 3-point line, which we don't think is going to change. Now, the thing for me here is, just load management pretty much. You got LeBron. That's a good point by Ron. He has that groin. He has a little bit of a foot issue that he was dealing with towards the end of the year. He played 40 minutes in game one. You got to think that there's going to be some management in game two, especially if things aren't going their way early on. So they're going to have to manage that. LeBron James, he still is the king. He still is that guy, but he's 38. And, he showed against the Grizzlies that he can be gassed out there with some of those performances that he put up. So definitely going to need to manage that going forward. But I like what I saw out of the Lakers. That they got some good performances out of Schroeder and Russell, some auxiliary players that you're going to need to step up for you, especially when you talk about having an older veteran and LeBron. But yeah, definitely like what I see out of them. Do you foresee the disparities maintaining themselves, like the Lakers controlling the paint and the Warriors controlling the perimeter? Do you think that's going to stay the same, or do you think some of that's going to change a little bit?
I think for tonight that stays the same, but the Warriors, if they don't get the job done again tonight, trying to chunk up that many threes, I think they change game plan. They have to. They'll be down 0-2. They would have to do something different. They can't afford to keep up this. I saw your tweet the other day, #math. They can't keep this up because you can't win. You live and die by the three, and that happens sometimes. So they can't afford to die by it again.
Yeah, I just, aside from, Curry and Wiggins, I really don't see who they have that can attack the paint and really score down there. So I think that that's just going to stay the same. I will say Ron really missed a chance with Vanderbilt's clamps. Should have been Vando's vault. I mean, I've seen that going around on Twitter.
Vandy's vault,
pretty funny. He was pretty big in game one. His defense, he was everywhere. We've seen a lot of these teams have this type of guy. Very high energy defensive guy, doesn't give you much on offense, but it's needed. PJ Tucker in Philly, I mean, you've seen it with these type of players. So Vanderbilt really has taken it upon himself, and even Dennis Schroeder, they're really, getting in Steph's face and making it tough. I know it was only one game, and we also got to remember the Warriors were coming off of that game 7. So, I mean, they were probably, coming down from their high of highs. Great chance for the Lakers to steal the game. I do expect the Warriors to win tonight, go 1-1 back to LA.
So this little piece he put up here, Bron versus Steph's legacy. I know Stephen A was harping on that this week, and he said that if Steph were to beat the Lakers, Steph deserves LeBron's spot on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. Is this what's at play right now? Is it that serious? Where you're talking about legacy over the other?
I don't think it's that serious. I think it's more important for their own individual legacies. Honestly, to me, I think LeBron James has done enough to put himself in his own hallway with Michael Jordan. I mean, for crying out loud, he's the leading scorer in the NBA history. Granted, some of that has to do with longevity and playing longer than other people, but he's still the leading scorer all time. But what I'm saying for Steph, though, if he wins, today, and I think even if he doesn't win today or, win the series and the championship, he's undoubtedly the greatest point guard of all time. I mean, yes, you can have the argument if he's a true point guard or not, shooting guard, whatever. Fact of the matter is,
keep it as shooter.
I know, but no. Fact of the matter is, when you line them up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the depth chart, you put Steph at the 1. And with that said, undoubtedly he's number 1. I don't want to hear anything about Magic Johnson, about Jason Kidd, about Isaiah Thomas. I don't want to hear any of that.
The only one I would give you, any pushback on is Magic, just because he could play the 1 through the 5. Yes, he wasn't the greatest shooter, but the point guard is a facilitator. Steph isn't always the biggest assist guy, and Warriors fans even brought in a fucking hockey assist just to make the guy look. Okay, so I mean, I'm not rolling. I do think that Magic has a very good claim. I'll no pushback on best shooter ever. A point guard, he doesn't do everything that a point guard does.
I mean, I think I don't know.
Well, Ron made
It
this
is a
one. It says, "Ain't
legacy
like
thing.
it
I
used
like
to
it.
be. Warriors score franchise record 13 first half 3-pointers, but still fall at home to LA." So he says, Golden State adjustments for the rest of the series, go small or bench production. What would you like to see, Roland? If you're a Golden State fan and you want them to win, you want to see bench production, or you just want to see them to go small and continue to chuck up these threes?
I think you just got to stick to what got you here, right? And I like how Ron said it ain't like it used to be, because while they still have the big three and Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Steph pictured there, I did it from right to left, but they're in that picture. The fact of the matter is the pieces around them aren't as great as they used to be. I mean, they got a championship or two when they had KD there. You know, they had a couple of other key pieces that have gone through Golden State that aren't there anymore. You know, you really start looking to, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins to start giving you, consistent minutes. And what happened with Andrew Wiggins this year wasn't there. So for the Warriors, just got to stay small. I don't see them going big with the Lakers. You got to find a way to free up, to continue to free up Steph, and just because it's going to go through him. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter right now, because you can't rely on your ancillary players night in and night out. So that's the thing. I don't want to overreact, because I think the Warriors will win this game. They'll split. But the reason why I say I don't want to overreact is because against the Kings, they were down 2-0. We pretty much all wrote their eulogy up here. I know I did. I didn't think they were going to win the series at that point. So I want to at least reserve the right to, kind of change my mind. But looking at it today, the X's and O's, the way that they shake out, even though the hashtag math is on the Warriors side, I like the Lakers' chances in this series. I really do. They already got the one win on the road. I think they have the size advantage. They're going to win the boards. They already control the paint and the free throw line. But the Warriors still have that Trump factor where they can just shoot you at the gym. But I like
But
the
run
Lakers'
last
chances.
the night before, Ben. What kind of adjustments do they need to do to kind of simulate another run like that in this game?
I'd like them to adjust their jerseys to wear these with toasters on them instead of those little train things. I don't know if you all caught that, but those are toasters, because Ron thinks the Warriors are toast. I don't see them. Listen, hitting a franchise record, 13 3-pointers in a first half, and you're like, okay, they should be up. No, they were down 3, fam. Like, how you can't play better? That's a franchise record. Maybe they could play better on the defensive end, but they just don't have an answer for AD. And AD played like he should in game one. Pretty bad game by LeBron. You expect LeBron to come back tonight and play better. But as far as AD down low, they really don't have an answer. And yes, we've always questioned AD. Is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? Is he going to get hurt? He's soft. There's no better series right here than to just shut everybody up. Obviously you want to win the championship, but be the guy that bounces the defending champs. Be that guy, and you're just gonna. I know he probably doesn't listen to all the outside noise, but you're going to get a lot of people off your back and a lot of doubters then becoming believers if you're able to do that, because you're the obvious mismatch in this series. It's obvious. So just take advantage, do what you got to do.
All right. Anything else,
AD
guys, on this game tonight specifically that you want to cover? Any point that we missed between these bullet points?
No. I do want to reiterate that AD, if he continues to be the quote unquote the queen piece on the chessboard here, the Lakers have a very good chance, because like Ben just said in his take, the Warriors have no answer for him. I don't care if Draymond Green has been defensive player of the year before. They got Kevin Looney who can board up. Nobody on that court can really guard AD when he's
Looney's the other
operating.
big, but honestly, besides rebounds, what's he doing offensively?
Nothing.
Or defensively?
Defensively too, he's cooked. He can't guard. He shouldn't be able to guard AD, especially when he faces them up. Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't be there. So if AD can just stay in his head and just play his game, the Lakers have a very good chance, because he can control this whole game. Because you saw Steph try and throw up some of those floaters in the paint, even on the defensive side of the ball. They're having to adjust for AD consistently. And I would like to see Ruri Hachimura, have a good series too. So
much was made about Jordan Poole's long shot to tie the game up in game one, people said you could have taken a step forward and then made the shot. Are y'all okay with him almost doing a half court shot there to try to tie it up? Should he have made a better look at the basket and got a little closer? What's the deal with that? Where do you fall on that?
It wasn't a half court shot, first of all.
Well, it was deep. It was very deep.
It was deep, but I mean, he had hit 6 3-pointers that game.
Yeah.
So why not him shoot it? I know that we've had this kind of discussion with some buddies of, Trae Young shot, that game winner against the Celtics. Is that a good shot? Is it a bad shot from how deep it was? It went in. Dame Lillard shot over Paul George back with the Thunder, the elimination one.
Yep.
Paul George was on every interview saying, I don't care what anybody tells me. That's a bad shot, but it went in. I think I have no problem with that Jordan Poole shot. He's an NBA player. He hits threes. He was at home. Was it far? Yes, it was a little far, but he's hit from there. He was wide open. I got no problem with that shot. If Steph shoots that exact same shot and misses the same way, nobody's saying anything, and I get it. He's the greatest shooter of all time. But that's a wide open shot, and that's a guy that they count on to make that shot. So I'm not mad at Poole shooting that.
Yeah,
I can't really. Are you okay with that shot? It was deep, man.
I mean, first of all, I'm personally not too big of a fan of Jordan Poole, but I can't say that was a bad shot because I'd be hypocritical because I've given, guys like recently, like Trae Young, I didn't think that was a bad shot. I thought he was in rhythm. He got to a spot. He's a sniper from back there. Dame Lillard, same thing like Ben said. Although, I just looking at it from the optics, it looked like it was further than Dame's shot. I don't know because it said 27 feet for Jordan Poole's shot. I don't know exactly how long Dame Lillard's shot was over.
He pulled up from 30
over Paul George, but it just looked further away. But I'm okay with the shot just because, like you said, he had already made 6 threes. He kind of caught it in rhythm, maybe take a dribble, but you just got to live and die with it. You're a 3-point shooting team. That's what got you there in the first place. You hit 21 of those as a team that night, so can't get mad at the one shot that they missed. I mean, they missed 32 that night, so you're not going to get mad at that one. So
and an open one at that.
So
yeah, and
the
last
thing I want to hit on is Jordan Poole a little more. The other series, he kind of seemed like he was almost unplayable. It seems like he's been a little bit off this season, but he goes and has a 6 3-point game. You see him continuing this trend for the series, or do you think that production falls off as the series goes by and he kind of goes back to being a little bit unplayable?
I think him and D'Lo is kind of the same thing for both teams. Like, what are you going to get from D'Lo? D'Lo looked unplayable in the play-in game, sometimes in the first round. Dennis Schroeder came to the rescue. So I think both guys are going to be the same. I know D'Lo had a pretty good game one, so he started off the series pretty good, but I do expect Jordan Poole, when they go on the road, to decline a little bit. He had a very good game one. I think that's about his ceiling in this series, that game one. Can you have another game like that? Yes, but I don't think that we see like a 30-point Jordan Poole like we saw last year during their run to the championship. He's still feeling that punch from Draymond, bro. I'm telling you, he's still feeling that.
Yeah, Jordan Poole's streaky guy. At his core, I mean, he once he finds the bottom of the bucket, he'll keep on hitting it, but he'll have the nights where he just can't find it. So I'm very much expecting for him to go back to the mean, but still, he's just one of those guys for the Warriors that they need him to pop. They need, because the one thing I'll say about Jordan Poole is he has unlimited confidence, right? You're not worried about him trying to find his own shot. He's another guy on the court that can find his shot at any given time. You're not always going to like the shot. It's almost like, J.R. Smith, right? Yeah, it's almost like that. But, it's Jordan Poole. So a little bit of a different player and probably plays a little bit further out than J.R. did. But still, it's a same type of player at the end. But, I'm not expecting him to maintain the play, especially because, like Ben said, he hasn't had the best year. Like he did last year when he had to play extended time as a starting point guard with Steph out.
And honestly, though, bro, he is expected to be that guy that they hand the torch off to, though, based off the way that he played last year. I think that's what the Warriors had in mind. He's going to be that next guard. I know Steph still got some years on him, but he's going to play, with Steph and under Steph for that time. And then the Warriors are going to kind of become his show. I think that's what the writing was on the wall. But this season and ever since that incident, it's kind of just, I don't know. I don't want to compare it so much to Juju, but it's kind of taking that turn. You know what I mean? Like where people are kind of getting turned off by him now.
Especially with the deal they gave him.
Yeah, and because too, like, I mean, you mentioned, and it goes back a little bit to the shot. You talk about people getting a little bit tired of Jordan Poole, but it's because he consistently takes bad shots. I mean, that's why you have this conversation with him specifically. Like that's why I said I don't want to be a hypocrite and say that his shot was a bad shot, because I'm not going to say that about the other guys who've taken similar shots. I just won't. So I can't say that for Jordan. For Jordan Poole, but he doesn't play. And again, I'm not a basketball savant or like an expert, but he doesn't play the best.
Are you trying to say he's a chucker, Roman?
No, well, yeah, he's a chuck. What I'm saying is he doesn't play the best brand of basketball when it comes talking about team play. So
he's not playing Warriors basketball.
Winning
basketball, but. Ben, what you're saying, I do agree. It's a little bit disappointing because based on the way that he was playing last year, you could think about this guy. Hey, maybe he wins 6th man of the year 2 or 3 years in a row, starting this year, just based on the way that he was going on his trajectory. So yeah, just disappointing for Jordan Poole because he does have skill. I mean, I can't sit here and say that the guy doesn't know how to play basketball because it's obvious. He has a good handle. He can get his own shot at any time, but it's just not all here sometimes. And maybe, Draymond knocked some of that out of him.
I'm telling you, bro. It's the only answer. It's the only answer.
But I mean, at that same token,
it's been a pretty big decline, bro.
But at the same token, though, do you think that punch, that incident, is still weighing over this team, much like
chemistry-wise, absolutely.
Much like John Morant, and the Dylan Brooks stuff kind of affected the Grizzlies, and they admitted that all of that stuff affected them. So do you think some of that's still lingering? Because there's been shots of, I know there's a shot of when Draymond Green was losing his shit that, Jordan Poole was kind of laughing, but then there's been other shots where Jordan Poole hasn't had a few good possessions. They call a timeout and Draymond's there trying to talk to him, and Jordan Poole's just like, don't even look at me. Yeah, he doesn't want to hear none of that. So that locker room.
Yeah, man, whenever you punch somebody, you're never going to be the same. Just not.
The relationship, you're saying.
Yeah, it's never going to be the same. And that's the detriment that Draymond Green brings, to the Warriors right now.
And also, though, like, they're from different eras. You know what I mean? Like, obviously in age, but it's, maybe, Draymond can get away, like, maybe had he punched Clay or somebody like that. Like, I'm not trying to start. Worse. I'm not trying to start riffs. I'm just saying, like, they're kind of from this new generation, bro. They hold grudges, bro. Like, I don't know. It's not like Jordan punching Steve Kerr anymore. It's not like that at all. You know what I mean? This is like when Bobby Portis punched.
But even then, though, like if Steph punched Jordan Poole, I think it might have been a little bit different, right?
Yeah, you got more weight with Steph. You carry more, so. You could get away with
Draymond's role on the team, bro. Like that's
to punch people. I've never heard of that.
Well, I hope he's a Rocket. I hope he's a Rocket next year, and he continues that role.
Enforcer.
You don't enforce on your own guys.
Hey, Jordan punched Kerr, bro. And I mean, does Kerr look like a guy that ever?
No, Jordan got the card to do whatever he wants, bro. It's different.
I don't know.
And he gets a percentage of every Jordan ever sold, bro.
But I mean, listen, the Warriors paid Jordan Poole, so that was their choice long term. We know Draymond Green can't wait to be a Los Angeles Laker, so we'll see what happens.
Don't scare me with all that.
Yeah, that was the wildest story that I've ever heard. That Draymond Green asked for permission to go watch LeBron James. To go watch LeBron
James. Step away from the team. Wild,
bro. That's funny.
Well, boys, I mean. That's a wrap. Games that started. We are going to finish the first quarter 28-24 with 47 seconds left here.
Who's winning?
Y'all enjoy your Thursday night.
Hey, and Justin, real quick, do you know the odds on that Canelo fight? I know Justin said that he's got a Canelo and Dober parlay and that he's drinking the juice. I don't know who Canelo is fighting, but you got to think the odds are pretty high on this fight.
It's probably like over -500. It's going to be in Mexico, I believe, and they were like booing these guys. Like at this point, they're tired of Canelo taking these nobody fights.
I'm glad.
What do you think about Canelo's comments on Ryan Garcia on the body shot. He kind of threw a little
I
bit of
honestly
shade.
didn't
I don't
hear
know if
him.
you saw it. He was just talking about, hey, it was a good fight. Tank's a good fighter. That body shot was real. He's like, but we're fighters. We need to get up, or we need to stand up as fighters, or something like that. I don't know. Thought it was a little bit of a shot, a little bit of a
Who
dig.
knows? How come he hasn't taken that Bivol fight back? I don't know. We'll see.
He was in over his head there. Will you all be watching these fights, or will you all be catching the fights?
And I got 3 things going on. So I got UFC, I got boxing, and I always got WWE on the Saturday. I don't know why they put them at the same time. I'll have a tablet, I'll have a phone out, and I'll have my TV out. So I think usually the Canelo tends to come on after the UFC, so that'll be at least scheduled correctly there.
Hell yeah. I'll be watching these fights at home.
Okay, nice. Well, boys, I hope that we can come back and do a recap episode next week. I mean, we normally do it on the pay-per-view cards. Yeah. So let's come back next either Tuesday or Thursday and
we'll
recap
come with some draft grades as well, because we got to sort that out.
We got to sort that out, and then speaking of drafts, we got the lottery coming up. What is it? May the 16th. I just want to pull that up real quick. We got the NBA draft lottery. The only reason why
the Bowl
I'm talking
lottery.
about it's May 16th, Tuesday. May
what date
16th.
Is that? On a Tuesday. Let's go. We got to go live for that.
It's on a Tuesday, May 16th. The draft lottery. As you know, the Spurs and the Rockets, they didn't have the best seasons. They are with the second and third best odds, respectively. I think the first best odds are the
Detroit.
Hornets or Detroit. Okay, the Pistons.
Detroit.
The Pistons have the best odds to get the number 1 pick. And as we all know, this draft is unlike many others because there is like an undeniable generational talent, Victor Wembanyama.
I don't know about
that.
I mean, That's Bol Jr.
No, dude.
Until I see it differently. I know y'all hoping it changes your franchises around, but I've seen this before, and it's not that much different. I hope it's good for y'all, but I'm just letting y'all know this ain't LeBron here.
Listen, there's calling Will Levis a bust pre-draft, all right, and him falling to the second round, and then there's calling Victor Wembanyama a bust, bro. This is
we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll have to talk
viral or what's he trying
I'm making my call now. Bol Jr.
We'll bring our draft profiles with us on that Tuesday and break it down for you, Justin. We'll bring you to the other side here.
There we go. All right, boys. Peace.